It's just snoozing up a storm. I don't even know, hopefully, that anybody can hear me. I already was doing my little TikTok videos. People always comment on there, who's snoring in the background? Like, it's easy to not, you know, pay any attention to your dog snoring. But it would be a different story, like if there was someone on the couch just laying there, just snoozing and having a nap. Then I think it would be obvious to me, like, oh, someone's snoring in the room. I should probably wait until they wake up. But Stella, you know, she's like, sleeps a lot. And if she's not asleep, then she's up barking or lately just crying. And so when she's sleeping, especially a deep sleep, it just gives me more peace. It makes me feel more like, oh, calm. I can relax for a minute. Because when she's up and she's crying and crying and crying, I start getting so tense because, you know, I'm trying to get her to understand that pain will not kill you. Pain is just pain. You know, as a human, as us living beings, most of us live with some aspect of pain all the time. And, you know, a lot of people, you know, they don't want to live with pain, so they go and get hooked on drugs and stuff like that. But a lot of us just live, you know, with pain just normally. And so trying to get an animal to understand, like, you know, it's pain. It's not that you're dying or something. And it's sad because she, you know, doesn't understand, and, you know, she cries, like, she just doesn't understand. And then you got Trixie, who just wants to keep kicking her ass. It's, you know, when you have nature in the house, and they have their certain way of doing things and handling things. But I saw it when, you know, Winston got sick. I think it's just part of the pact mentality, you know, boot out the weak ones, let nature take its course. And there would be a time, you know, if an animal was out there and had this, these issues with their hips, they would just eventually curl up and not get up to feed themselves because it would just be too painful and there would be nobody bringing it food. So nature would take its course. And, you know, but I can't do that. I can't do it. I can't, you know, say, oh, well, she shouldn't feel pain. Because to me, well, I feel pain all the time. So should somebody just come and say, oh, well, you know, she's got too much pain, I'm going to put her to sleep. Because to me, she still has, you know, stuff in her other parts of her life. Like right now she's asleep, but she still loves to get up and go out. I'm trying to stop her from running, but still run outside. And, you know, her favorite thing to do is to go outside and guard me when I'm out doing something. You know, she's got to stand guard over me. That is, you know, that's so important to her. She likes to go out and guard the fence and go out and patrol, you know. She has a lot of stuff that she still loves to do. So why would I say, oh, you know, her pain, she just needs to be, you know, put to sleep. She shouldn't have to suffer like that. Who am I to decide that? And if I'm already going against nature by having this animal in here and taking care of it, even when it doesn't really want to take care of itself, then, but she still has that, you know, need to take care of me. That is the magnificent thing about dogs, you know, that we domesticated them. You know, I think, like, enslaved them for our own purpose. Some people eat them. I mean, people use them for different things. Some people are just cruel to them. They use them to try and understand life or something, to try and understand what is life. You know, but when you get to that higher consciousness of animal, you know, the soul connections and stuff, like, I feel like I have conversations with her. Like, I'll say things and I'll hear things in my head. And I think that you can pick up on messages, you know, and it is an understanding of, like, the relationship between different beings. Like, I can go out and I feel like I can hear the trees, their messages. I feel like you start really getting connected to nature, and you start feeling the messages that they send you. And I think that's part of the ascension myself. I think that is what humans are headed towards. I think that it got kind of disrupted. Like, they were like that in the beginning, and then they got disrupted because, you know, they wanted to have a certain lifestyle, and they could use these slave beings to work. And then plus we were a science experiment. We were always being experimented on. I saw something really interesting today too about, I've seen a lot of this footage of these old, like 1800s. I don't even know when the first moving camera, and how could we ever know? Because everything is a lie. So these movies, and it is weird. And then I've seen snapshots, but they're not blurry. Well, how, if all of these cars and all of these trains and all these things are moving and people are walking with their parasols and stuff like that, wouldn't you see some blurs? Like, how are these pictures? Like, even if the cameras that we use, you can't get everything to hold still at once. You know, you still have things that are blurred and moving. So, yeah, that's weird. And I guess there's some other things, like, you know, these people who do so much research, I find so interesting. But I'd seen a few different things where people are trying to look up, like, things that don't match in our history. Just like, you know, there's a lot of people looking up about the globe versus the flat and how things don't match and stuff like that. Oh, and I saw a woman today who was 102, and it was a guy, I think he was talking to her in a nursing home or something. And he said, what were you taught when you were in school? Was the earth round or was it flat? And she said, we were taught it was flat. And he goes, when did it change? Why did they change it? And she said, I don't remember why they changed it, but I remember when they changed it, and they started telling us it was round. So that's like 100 years ago. No, wouldn't even, because she wouldn't have been in school when she was first born. So what, 90 years ago, they were teaching the earth was flat. And even in the Encyclopedia Britannica, the ones that I had when I was a kid said that it was flat. And that there's a firmament, you know, which all matches to me with this being a contained science experiment for souls to begin to understand themselves and to go through controlled experiences so that it can expand itself to become more sovereign, to become more expanded, to, you know, exalt itself and ascend, evolve, you know, all of that stuff. Because, you know, soul isn't just all of a sudden pops on and, oh, soul's just, you know, it's an energetic force that begins to become conscious of itself, that begins to question and it creates its own form because it's questioning itself, and going through experience is what creates the soul. So, you know, like consciousness, like we have consciousness, like there's aspects of souls in all things. There's aspects of consciousness in all things. But there is a process to the evolution of a soul, the ascension and stuff like that. And so, you know, all souls, all consciousness are all at different levels. And even ones, you know, that are in human body can be at a completely different level from another one in a human body. And like I said the other day, I mean, Stella could be very expanded. Like she could be an old soul in that body, you know, especially if, you know, if you think about the different kind of experiences that you could go through, like as an animal. Think about all of the different experiences that you would go through is playing your part in nature and having to be in sync with nature, and how much you would learn and expand as a soul, and how much, because not everything has to do with teaching is by language. No, you could have, you know, how would you teach love? You wouldn't talk about it, you would show it. You know, how would you teach something to take care of itself? You know, you would show it. You would push it into that, you know. You wouldn't tell it. You know, words are kind of, you know how people keep talking about now that they were made just to manipulate us. They were made to cast spells. And so we would cast spells on ourselves and all sorts of crazy stuff. But, you know, before, when we as tribal people would have been, you know, creating our own language, it would have been a lot more basic, a lot more of just a communication. So, you know, words have become so manipulative. That's why, you know, words can have several different meanings. And They can have the same word spelled, can be spelled one way and mean different things. And, there's just a lot of weird stuff with the words and the language. And so I think that I have thought for a long time it is about the manipulation and in how they change the words between generation to generation and create new words to trigger words, and all that stuff is all used to create division, to keep us all divided, especially generation to generation. Because how many young people do you think go to a nursing home and talk to old people about the history? Not many. And when you start looking at like those pictures of the 1800s, the one today that they were talking about was that there was all of a sudden this huge influx of people that they don't know where they came from. It was just like a huge influx of people. And then all of a sudden there was a big change in the way that like the industrial or agriculture or something like that. But like a big wave of people came. Where did they come from? And how much of our history is just completely manipulated to that point. That it is like Westworld, where it has these different kind of environment. Like if you haven't seen it, it's kind of like you got Westworld, you got Future World, you got, these different worlds that are created. And then they have like these AI people that actually have consciousness and then begin to have conscious awareness, begin to have memories, begin to understand what's going on, and then start fighting back against the controllers. But in these different environments, how many of them, would they take these ones and shift them and put them over here in this, oh, we need more in Future World because now we're going to do this in this, in this learning environment here. And, like we're really just pawns in a game, and it's a lot to wake up to the understanding of what's really going on here and how sophisticated this whole experiment really is, but how far in the dark ages the people have been held back, and the people who, started controlling from the beginning, they were willing to do whatever so that they could have technology, wealth, control, and everything. It got so ugly, I mean, the stuff they've done has just gotten so dark and so ugly. It just has become such a created, negative place. It's like, this lab just got diseased. And, I think it's something about the splitting. And the whole thing is you can't take things just literal, but it seems like it literally is. Like, we really have this complete split reality. We have things that are completely changing. And, I don't know. It's so weird because you cannot talk to the people in that reality about anything from this reality. They don't understand it at all. And anything in their reality, to me, just sounds crazy. Like, why? Why would you do that? Why would you think that? And they're also satisfied just to live this, like, mediocre, controlled life of this tyrannical government that they don't even notice that is going on. Like, it blows my mind. Seriously. This blows my mind, and I think it's important for us to really document some of this stuff of what it's like. And I know I'm not the only one who is living in an actual daily life. Like, there's so many people who it is our families, it's people we thought were our friends, it's people, the families we thought we created that are actually the ones that are splitting away from us, and they are showing what they really think of us. And, it's a lot to face when you have to see what people think of you that you thought were, like the people who had your back. You start seeing, like, no, they didn't really. But it is an actual splitting of these two realities. And, you know, it's weird. Like, I literally, there's nothing I can talk about with these people that is real. Nothing that is real. You can only talk about what isn't real. What's real to them isn't real. What's real to us is crazy to them. Like, it's an actual split. And I don't know. I'm still hoping that there's something that's going to, you know, wake them up. I've thought all along there was going to be something that was going to wake them up before the split. I don't know. I keep hearing people talk about that this is the actual split. That's why we're seeing the going two different directions. And it's mostly everyone I know. It's like, what the fuck? So am I just going to disappear out of their reality all of a sudden? And I'm going to be in a different one? And they're all going to still be in this one? I don't want to be in this one. No, fuck, no, way. No, I'm all for it. I'll go. I'll go. I'll see them in the next life, because this is horrible. This is absolutely horrible. Every day that goes on in this reality, when I know this reality is like being conjured, that it's like, oh my gosh, every day I get up like, oh, please today, emergency broadcast something, please, let's move on out of this reality, you know. And I mean, is the Canary Islands going to be, I don't know, you can say that word, there's a few words you can't say, there's a lot of things that people think that you can talk about that you cannot talk about. You can't talk about technology, you can't talk about, I mean, it's very restricted. If you're not talking about extraterrestrials as a joke, then, you know, you're being watched. Our true history, what's really going on the planet that's not being talked about in the news, like all of that stuff is things that you aren't allowed to talk about. They restrict your channels and stuff. My mom even said now she's not even getting my messages, and she'll click on them and they'll disappear and stuff. It's like, you know, I don't know. I know that they can shadow ban you and stuff on these platforms, but I mean, how deep is their reach, really? Like, it's creepy. Like, this is a creepy world, and I'll be glad. Like, okay, let's split. I'm ready. I was like, bye. You know, I can be remembered as the crazy woman in the woods to these people. That's okay, because this is not any place that I want to be any longer, especially knowing what the future is. And if this is how it has to go, it has to be the actual split. And these people who don't want to wake up, they just are going to go on continuing to live this creepy, controlled AI world life. You know, ugh, I don't know. I just know it's not for me. So I don't know how things are going to go down. But man, I still feel like there's a lot happening, and it is just like, I feel like we're all standing on the top of a cliff, and we're all watching just to see, like, what is going to be the thing that's going to go. Like, we all know something's about to go, just nobody knows. And it's like you're almost holding your breath in the pool, like someone's about to, you know, kick water in your face. You got to be prepared. It's like, I don't know. All I know is something big's about to happen, and I'm still, you know, I think that those people who were talking about those prophetic dreams in New York of being underwater a few years ago, I don't know. I know one thing. If I was on the East Coast, if I was on any coast right now that would be affected, I'd be moving inland, 100%. 100%. To me, it's all about awareness. It's all about using your eyes and ears outside of the scope. Look out around you. Pay attention to what's happening outside of what you're told to look at, because there could be concerns. So anyways, you know, work on you. Pay attention to the world, and, you know, use a lot of forgiveness and acceptance, and, you know, move towards those kinds of things. Those things are what is our Ascension Tools, you know, unity, love, acceptance, forgiveness, you know, not holding grudges and expecting people to change for you. And there's so much, it's everything for them is outside of them. And everything for the other side is inside of them. So, you know, it is, I don't know. It's very weird. It's very weird. Especially like if you are right in the middle of the experience. I know I'm not the only one. And it's very strange. So, okay, well, there'll be more to talk about when we actually go through it. Because then so much will make sense, you know. Then we'll be able to be like, but I had a really creepy thought one day. You know, I was like, oh my gosh, what if the awakening is because all this already happened? The awakening is to wake us up so that they can tell us the truth. But we have to wake up, but the planet has already moved. We've already split. And I was talking about that with a friend, and then she was like, yeah, but we wouldn't have any of this bad stuff happening. It would already be over. I was like, yeah, but they keep saying that it's all a movie, which is watching a movie. I don't know. I don't know. Everything is an illusion. Everything is something to explore. And you know, I want to try and understand it all. And I question everything. And I would say you should question everything too. So have a good day. I'm going to say good and great, because it should be a really, really good, great day. So have a good, great day. And, you know, question everything. Talk to you later. Bye.